So I have to say, this is easily the best episode of The Ancient Magus' Bride. I mean, I'm just wowed by this episode, and I was actually suspecting a lot more of a gloomy outcome for this episode, because all throughout Twitter I was seeing people say how depressing and just how dark this episode was, and it definitely has those moments, but the final moments of this episode are completely uplifting and just bring a smile to my face. Maybe I'm the only one feeling that, but seriously, this episode just left me in a very good mood. Maybe it had its moments of really throwing me down in the gutter. By the time this episode wrapped up, I was just wowed by just what happened in this. Seriously, first things first, let's discuss the family. We finally get to see the full backstory of what happened to both Chisei's mother, as well as her father, as well as her baby brother. And I think a lot of people are going to call her father weak and a coward and a horrible person, but I have to say, I don't think he is. Now, to learn that her father was essentially the protector of the family, it seems like her mother was identical to Chisei in every way, and ultimately that means misfortune is brought to her and those around her, but essentially her father was warding off the evil spirits. I think they call them fays in this series, if I'm getting the terminology correct, but basically the evil spirits. We see one just moments before the father takes the baby and then leaves after saying goodbye to Chisei. And I think you can't compare it to anything in the real world. Like, there's tons of times fathers leave the family and they're cowards, there's no explaining why they would run away. But this is the extreme, and I don't think there's any comparison, because essentially, imagine living your whole life with the people you love, but ultimately it brings chaos and misfortune. It eventually would eat away at you, and you would get tempted to those spirits, similar to Chisei's mother when she tried to strangle Chisei. It eventually would eat away at you, and there isn't many people, I don't think, who would be able to endure that for life, so it makes sense why he ran away. It doesn't excuse it, but it just perfectly makes sense on why he acted the way he is. And to see what happened to Chisei's mother after no longer having that protection, having to take care of not only herself but Chisei, ward off these spirits, work jobs, and causing misfortune to everyone around her, it's completely understandable why it ate away at her mind and she tried to kill her own daughter, and then after realizing what she did, killed herself, ultimately scarring Chisei. And to see that moment where Chisei confronts her for the first time, no longer running away, and her mother's asking for forgiveness, she won't give it to her. She can't. She hurt her. That was the only memory that she had of her up until that moment. She couldn't even remember the good times. But looking back, there was those good times, there was those moments, and of course she's going to love her, and she's going to cherish those memories, but she won't forgive her. But because Chisei's mother let go of her that day, she ultimately got to meet people and set her on a path that she's more happy with, and it was worth it in the end. She got to meet all these wonderful people, including the man that she loves, Elias. Which goes to show, there ultimately is going to be forgiveness there. She's not going to throw him away. And that final moment, where she says goodbye to her mother, and ultimately accepts the deal, I love it. It was so beautiful, and it's the pinnacle. It's the absolute top point of her development. After 22 weeks, we see the best piece of development come to fruition with Chisei, and damn was it good. And in terms of the whole Joseph's evil spirit possessing the body, I thought it was kind of interesting, because it definitely now strikes the vibe that Joseph, the current body that whatever the hell this spirit is that's inhabiting him, wasn't his first body. Based on all those voices and everything that was being played near the end of the episode, it definitely strikes me as Joseph isn't the first body, and there's been many. And it's curious, like, what the deal was made. Like, is the deal that Chisei took with this kind of gloomy looking Joseph body, and I'm not saying Caterpillar's name, whatever the hell his name is, it's just a weird name, the evil spirit I'm gonna call him. It seems like the deal is gonna be something along the lines of maybe trying to kill the current body, and then Chisei's going to fully inhabit this spirit or something like that. That would make sense to me, because it definitely seems like, because he has a curse that essentially lets him live forever, Chisei has a curse that's going to kill them, and since they're going to be kind of combined for the time being, as long as Chisei wants to live, there'll be like this balance where essentially she'll be able to stay alive, but ultimately she has to accept this deal. And it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to go, because I think there's only like 1 or 2 more chapters that have been released currently for the manga, and we have 2 episodes left, so it definitely seems like we're going to be getting that ending here. We're going to see where the manga is going to be leading up to the conclusion, but it'll be interesting to see where the deal leads, and ultimately how Chisei and Elias are going to rekindle what was broken, because this is going to force Elias 100% that he's going to have to change his ways, because this is the first time that Elias literally messed up so bad that Chisei left him, something that he convinced himself would never happen. But Chisei isn't someone who's going to completely abandon him either. Based on this episode, it 100% confirms it. But seeing exactly what happened with Chisei's life, because we knew her father left and we didn't know exactly what happened at that moment, if he was killed or what was going on, and we knew her mother tried to kill her, but to see exactly why it happened, to see all the montages of the good moments and then the lead up to the bad moments. I'm sure some people are going to say it ended too abruptly, like her father left for no reason. But I think the fact that he literally looks at a spirit before he leaves, and then you hear the spirits talking like, hey, we used to have this guardian, but now he's gone, she has no one protecting. I think the episode did more than enough to explain why he ultimately left. At least that's how I feel. And seriously, just to see this build up, to see Chisei not just bend over and die, she literally stuck it to her mom, really. She said, I'm not going to forgive you, but I'm not going to forget you, but I am going to thank you for letting go. And I love that moment. It's so beautiful. And that track that was playing, I think it's the first time I've ever heard it in the show, but when it was playing when her mother was basically breaking down and crying, asking for forgiveness, it was a really interesting track. It definitely isn't what I would expect they would have played in that scene, but I thought it perfectly matched the atmosphere. And there was a couple of moments where, like, I didn't think the art was, like, top-notch quality. But as a whole, like, this episode, I thought it visually did what it needed to really set the atmosphere and just tie this package up. Like, seriously, this almost could serve as an ending to the series, but of course we still have 2 episodes left, we still have some other loose ends we need to tie up, and I can't wait to see where they're gonna go with it. I'm sure some people are still saying, like, this is an overrated show. I've been seeing that a lot all over social media, but I absolutely adore it. Chisei is one of my all-time favorite characters, and I love the relationships and the build-up and the characterization. Absolutely amazing episode. Let me know your thoughts. What did you think of just learning about her family and ultimately what happened? Where do you think that deal's gonna go next week? How do you think it's gonna play out? Let me know your thoughts down in that comment section below. And before you leave, smack that like button, share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.